Alright everybody, we are here with a round of 8. That's right, it's the quarterfinals match and it's the one everybody's been waiting for, a best of 5 between the best Finnish player in the world, Serral, one of the greatest Zergs and greatest players of all time, potentially the GOAT. But he's facing off against another GOAT contender. It's a GOAT fight once again, but this time it's at a LAN, a live tournament. They're both playing live from IEM Katowice. And that is awesome because that means they've both had to travel to an event. They're both playing on a stage with a big audience. And this, of course, is Maru down here, the #1 Korean player and #1 Terran in the world over recent years. A late game god who has just been so good in late game and has been playing a fair bit of mech. People have been all trying mech in Korea to come back into fashion. And speaking of those top Korean Zergs, they've said, look, dude, mech, it's all depending on how the player plays it. It's really hard for them to be as good as Maru. They're like, when Maru does it, it feels like so unstoppable. When anyone else does it, not so much. But the real kicker is if they get not only the mech units out, but also the ghosts, that's when it's really difficult to deal with as the Zerg player. When the ghosts come out on top, your spellcasters get shut down. It becomes really awkward. Now, interestingly enough, guys, Serral going for a 2-base opening here. He's actually just leaving on gas right now. And that is very peculiar. Not going for a quick 3rd base. So are we going to see a 2-base muta build out of him? Or is it just going to be... Ooh, oh, he does lose the Zergling. Now, I've been criticizing all tournament long. All the Korean Zergs have been building 6 Zerglings. And people have been saying, well, that way you never lose a Zergling. Look, Maru just killed a Zergling for free versus Serral. Guess what? Serral has an extra drone mining. It's well worth losing a Zergling to have an extra drone mining. And honestly, if he microed that better, he wouldn't have even lost that. So I really have been very critical of a lot of the Korean Zergs just wasting money by building a 5th and 6th Zergling. Unnecessary. Overlord speed does start up there. He's pulled 2 workers off gas now, so it's Overlord speed. So he really wants to see what Maru's up to. And that's wise, because Maru is a tricky bastard. He's been doing a lot of very peculiar openings, a lot of Battlecruiser openings, a lot of cute timing attacks. But the thing is, you can't nail him down. He's not predictable. And you can see here Maru's gone very quick 3rd command center, building Hellions, Tech Lab, and a 2nd barracks that's going to lift onto this reactor. So Maru wants to play 3CC into 211, which means very quick 3rd into double barracks, medevac marine drop with stim. And if Serral realizes that, which he should very early, he should be able to respond to it. Now that being said, I would argue that you hurt your own economy a massive amount by doing the opening that Serral's doing. He's only got 3 queens out. 4th and 5th queen are starting awfully late. So he's not going to have a lot of transfuse. He's not going to have a lot of queens to help him defend. And, I mean, yeah, okay, he gets to see everything. Overlord comes in. This is nice. But this only helps you if you respond perfectly. You need to now tailor your next few minutes of the game to completely counter what Maru's doing. Serral, one of the best in the world at doing that, but it's something where a lot of players just suck at doing it. And they try to copy these build orders, and they're like, oh, I'm going to copy it. If you don't know the ins and outs and details of Maru's build and how to deal with it, this does not help you at all. 2nd Overlord comes through for a follow-up. Hellions are going to go in. They do get a creep tumor snipe. Nicely done. No transfuses on these queens, guys. Is what I was talking about. They do not have a lot of energy, even though it's already 4 minutes 30. That's why this build is actually kind of weak against quick Hellbat timings, because even if you see it coming a bit early with the Overlord, it's hard to get your queens enough energy, get a Bainling nest or anything in time. As it is, though, 48 drones versus 37, so he's handled it pretty well. Just enough Zerglings to stop a potential Hellion run by, and building up to queens number 6 and 7. You can see it's a rule of 1 gas build. What does that mean? It means you mine off just 1 gas geyser, and you only take these extra gas geysers when you fully saturate your bases. So he's taken it just a little before full saturation, just before 16 workers on the 3rd, but you can see he's going to go Bainling Nest, Lair, 2nd gas. So he wants to get Bainling speed up very soon, very Solar-esque style. Or maybe he could go Quick Spire if he wants to play mutas. That could be an option. Overlord spotted an armory here, a very early armory, which tells us it's going to be a Hellbat Marine stim timing. So Serral knows what he's up against. He knows this is going to be a Hellbat Marine attack. He needs to make extra Bainlings to smash the Hellbats. That'll allow the Zerglings and the Queens to defend everything else. Okay, we've got the Marines, the Hellions moving forward. And, okay, Zergling's looking for a little run by. If he runs up the ramp, could be good. Does he catch any fresh mules? Oh, no mule coming down. Unfortunate for Serral to not catch that. It was a very well-timed counterattack. He's got 5 Bainlings morphing. Queens are going to start to fight these Hellions, get a bit of damage on them. Marines do come forward. Transfuses are going down there for Serral. A nice pullback. He's got to let these Bainlings connect. The Marines could focus the Banes down. Hellbat's a little bit clumped. Awkward by Maru there to stay so clumped up. That was Very bad control, I would argue, from him. And of course, it looks like he was microing at the third base. Didn't lose any SCVs or mules, but he did lose just a bunch of Marines and Hellbats on the front. So the distraction of those Zerglings killing the command center seemed to cause Maru to make a bit of a mistake there. He should have spread those Hellbats out, but instead the Bainlings got in the middle of them, smashed them apart, and now Serral secures his fourth base. Serral does not have a crazy worker lead. Serral's an incredibly safe player. He likes to have enough units to shut down your aggression and only then build his worker advantages off the back of it. This means it's hard to get momentum against some of the other Zergs who will try to get a worker advantage in the short term so they can swarm you in the late game. Serral will try to crush you in every single engagement, and that's how he gets into a swarmy position to overwhelm you in the mid to late game. So it's a very different flow playing against Serral, and I think the best thing you can do is not overcommit to your pushes. If he's ready for it, which he usually is, especially with Overlord speed, threaten, trade a little bit, but do not throw away your push. Keep your units alive, preserve them, and build that power, because look at the worker count. Serral is so exceptionally safe on the army. 10 queens, 30 zerglings, 10 speed banelings, about to be kicking in with speed bane, that is. And only now is he droning this fourth base. You can see the drones are starting to come out from his other expansions. They're going over there. It's a bit later on. Overlord's coming. Is that a Dropalord? Okay, Dropalord, Bane Drop. He's got a Bane Drop on the right side. It's in a very damaged Overlord, though, so not the best choice for that. The army's splitting up a little bit here for Maru. Overlord's seeing exactly where he goes at all times. Ling Bane getting out here, ready to jump on him, and that's a good distraction. Serral already forcing Maru to be very afraid and siege up really far back. The Zergling runs forward, sees that the tank's sieged, and look at this. Baneling drop. No! He forgot to unload! Oh my god, neither of them's noticed it. 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 Serral's noticed it! Oh my god. And he does drop a lot. Okay, 4 Banelings, 10 SCV kills, a bunch more damage. Could get hit by a follow-up wave. Ling Bane runs in. They just cancelled a 4th base over there. Maybe even killed it. The tanks and Marines are in a very annoying position, but there's so many queens there. And that 3rd is getting absolutely ransacked. Command Center is burning. 45 hit points. He might be able to burn that down if Serral can stop him from repairing it, but no, he cannot. The Marines do come forth and defend. Meanwhile, on the left side, the Queens are going after these medevacs. They're still mostly alive. They've used all their transfuses, though, which means the Queens will start dying. He's got to get rid of these tanks. The Bainlings connecting with most of those Marines. The Lings will be able to take out the siege tanks. Oh, will he? Yes, just barely. Takes out the tanks. The Queens do deflect the medevacs on the high ground. On the other hand, Maru defends his 3rd base. Sends SCVs back down there, but it's not great. Undersaturated on the natural. Main is fully saturated. 56 workers to 73. Serral very happy with this economic position. A good lead for him. Round 2 of the Bainling drop getting ready on the right side. This Overlord, which was so damaged earlier, did not really take any damage, so it's actually slowly becoming a healthier Overlord, regenerating just 1 hit point at a time. Marines are moving over that side, heading towards the gold base right now, but Serral has absolute control. So far, Maru has overcommitted to his attacks. He has failed to adjust to the opponent. He's playing a bit more like he's up against a Raynor or someone like that who he might have caught off with these attacks and killed, but Serral's deflected everything perfectly. He's seen all the tricks coming perfectly. Things like the early armory that are pretty big commitments for the Terran. Oh no, and again he doesn't spot the Bainling drop. I really could have sworn he was going to react quicker that time, but he doesn't. Does pick up those Marines and save them, but look at this, Bainlings rolling in at the same time. He thought that was a full wall off, so he's already clicked the Bainlings on the depots. And you know what? Doesn't really get that much damage, but a few depots, wasting mining time, setting the command center on fire. These are all frustrations for Maru, who I think is going to have to turtle up. He's got to give up the aggressive play. It's okay to have a few medevacs roaming and trying to keep Serral on the back foot, you know, pick off some units here or there. He's got double drop in the north, double drop in the south. But at home, it's got to just be defend. Tanks, Marines, everything he can get out, try and defend that. He's got a turret and a few Marines on the left. 2-2 is there, saving those Marines, but it looks like picked off a few Bainlings and Zerglings as well. Infestation Pit is on the way for Serral. Now, has he got both Hydra upgrades? He does. And how many Hydras he got? So his first 5 Hydralisks are only now on the way. So we've got Hydras, and then he will be starting the Hive to head into the Lurker Tech as the follow-up. This is a fantastic way of playing for Serral. He's got a 40 supply lead, 15 of which is in army, the rest in economy, the rest in army. And oh, he intercepts the drop with the queens. This is really cute. He does lose a few queens, so cute. Maybe a little too cute. Oh, he's going to go for the other medevac. You got to get out of there, Maru. If you lose that other medevac, this is really good for Serral, but good micro. Maru will have to trade a few of those Marines. There's no space in the medevac to get them out. Ling Bane Hydra's going to run in, and he's going to click on the medevac. Look at the Hydras. He runs right on top and targets the medevac, and yes, he does. Which means yet again, another medevac goes down. So this light pressure Maru's doing, unable to get up. Maru's going to go for this gold base. I would call that a big mistake. And the reason that's a mistake, guys, is even though income's nice and this gold base is nice, is it really? Look how exposed it is. I feel like now he's got a giant attack angle here he's got to watch out for, and this base is just spread so far out front on its own. So defending that is going to be very difficult. And Maru knows he's in turtle mode. He's making 3-3, he's making bio, tank, he's up to 8 barracks. He can't afford a ghost transition or anything like that just yet. Oh, he targeted the Widow Mine. Oh my god, Maru. Always selecting his Widow Mines and clicking them on the correct target. He doesn't want them to just fire on a random Zergling. He's always trying to click it on a Bainling that's in the midst of a pack. Fantastic micro control from him. Serral, though, is maxed, and that was an accident. He borrows the 50 Zerglings and the 20 Bainlings instead of the single Zergling. But he's gathering on the left and the right. And you can see he's going to swamp this base and hit the right at the same time. Maru, he's catching up in supply, though. Serral may be giving him a little bit too much time here. Serral's breaking the rocks. He's got to get in there, mate. He's got to get the damage done. He's got to do it soon. He cannot be wasting too much time. Widow Mines being very frustrating, but the spreads are good. These Widow Mines are unsupported. The Widow Mines are unsupported, and so they are not finding the damage. The Lingbane Hydra crashes in. Maru's going to counter-strike on the top. Can he get the gold base? The Widow Mine's doing a quick burrow, unburrow. Banelings could just detonate. Manual detonation. Fantastic play by Serral. He does lose a hatchery, but I think he's happy to lose that to take out this very important 4th base of Maru. Maru there does trade on both fronts. Serral does not really have a giant bank, and he's only on 81 workers, adding the Lurker Tech now. His first Viper is on the way. I'd like to see a second one. 2 Vipers, a very good number. And there we go. Once again, unsupported Widow Mines are fantastic if you're playing a donkey like me. Serral is the furthest thing from a donkey. He is a goddamn warhorse covered in bloody plated barding and shit. I'm talking about he's got some expensive breeding behind him. He gets fed all the best food, the oats and shit. I don't know what horses like to eat, but he eats it. He is a strong stallion. He is not a donkey. He will not run into these Widow Mines. So the Widow Mines need supporting units or they will not land big hits. And here we go. That Widow Mine once again. Okay, that one. Nope. Killed a Marauder and an SCP. Didn't get much else. The base gets denied. Serral pulls back the fragile, expensive, and slow Hydras. And he's doing great. He's just denying that gold base, and Maru has to find a way to establish this position. And you know what the answer is, guys? Stop taking this base. Don't take this base either. This one here is much easier to defend, because if you defend there, you can have a central position in between the 2 bases, which your bio responds to, and you can have tanks just spread through this middle area that cover both bases. This gold base is an absolute trap. If you're in an even game, I agree with what Maru's doing, but when he's behind, I think this is a terrible decision. Serral is not a guy who's going for 100 drones and playing a really, really massive economy that's going to outscale you. He's trying to kill you, and you're giving him the opportunity by taking a base that is sticking out like a sore thumb. Marauders and Marines coming in with a bit of a spready. Oh, he's going to get a few lurkers. Oh my god, he's so good at that. One of the lurkers barely survived. Oh no! What the hell is he doing taking a command center down here? Maru! Why would you possibly put an undefended orbital and a full mineral line down there? A disastrous decision. The master of turtling just keeps on exposing himself to risk completely unnecessarily. It makes no sense to be securing these 2 bases, especially one with no defensive measures, no planetary, no Widow Mines, no Marines. This is Maru making bad decisions under pressure on the big stage. We talked about it before. One of the big questions is, yeah, Maru's had the most dominant streak in career. Yes, he's a god, but can he actually perform at an international tournament? And people go, oh, this tournament, he just wasn't himself. This is literally how Maru's played at every single tournament overseas. Did he play this way in the groups? No, he played fantastic in the groups. But there's always a point where Maru does not deliver when he goes outside of Korea. And I do not want to see that here. Maru, step up your game. You cannot defend this base. Just abandon it. The gold base should be where all of his defenses are focused. He's spreading himself far too thin right now, and honestly, even a big Lingbane Hydra attack on the right side would catch him unprepared. Serral does run in with lurkers on their own. Bad move by Serral. That's a good catch by Maru, but will it matter? Big Widow Mine does start things off. How much else does he have behind this? Not a lot. There might just be not enough units. The Marauders come from the bottom side. The mineral line on the left. No, Maru. He tries to lift the command center to get it away from those Banelings. He does spread his SCVs like a champion. And indeed, that is what he is, but it still might have been a good enough trade for the Serral, who's got an uninterrupted economy. His gold base is back up. And that is a 6-base Serral up against Maru that's struggling to establish mining on a 4th for any meaningful period of time. There's just no I mean, once again, this base is wide open to a Zergling run by, guys. And look at this. Bainlings are just going to walk right in there. Maru is taking crazy risks here in a situation where he needs to turtle up and survive. He's done it versus the best Zergs in the world before and made amazing comebacks. But once again, leaving units out in the open, leaving a base out in the open. Serral is going to punish you for this. He's not just going to let you get up a base and, you know, cross your fingers he doesn't notice it. Oh, no! Serral running in the right side. And this is just technical perfect. And even brings in an Overseer to spot the cloak. Go Serral with the sick preparation on that. I mean, that's a handful of Zerglings. That's basically free for Serral. For Maru, those are incredibly important units that he needs to support his ghosts at the front. Another wave of Bigling Bane comes in. Lurker's in range of the command center. Mass Bainling rolling through the Terran army. And Maru, he's trying to spread. He clumped up a little bit there. But those ghosts are still very clumped up and they're dying to these Bainlings. And Maru just has nothing left. And he gets overrun by Serral, overcommitting to that Hellbat attack, despite the Overlord speed scouting everything. I do think Maru committed a bit too much to his early attacks. When he lost that first Hellbat time into the Bainlings, he was trailing from then. And I've said it before, this base sticks out. Look at the angle that can be attacked. Massive space from all sides. It's too hard to defend. I really think he should have gone back to this 4th base, then taken this one as his 5th, and just keep himself contained in a tight area. He had to limit the surface area. He gave Serral too many angles to attack, and it was a simple process for Serral to pick him apart from there. Alright guys, let's go into map number 2. We've got Serral on the bottom right side of Blackburn. He's going to be going Hatch Gas Pool, and his opponent, Maru, in the bottom left, is going for 2 Rax Reaper. This is a bizarre build order. We've seen it more and more recently. Now, I don't really know how I feel about 2 Rax Reaper. Obviously, you can jump down here, and you run along, and you run through the middle, and then you jump up, and you're inside their base! But I always feel like if they build a Spine Crawler and they put it here, it actually zones out like 80% of the area you can cover. And the thing is, with 2 Rax Reaper, do you even need a spine? Probably not. Now, one thing I've noticed, though, recently, because back when 3 Rax Reaper was very popular, is you would try to actually drone while defending the first few Reapers. But more recently, when I've seen Zergs at the top level playing against these guys who, like Maru, who are Reaper gods, they actually don't build many drones. They just sit on like 22 workers and they just build Zerglings and Queens and Zerglings and Queens. They just try to defend until that very important link speed comes up. Now, what's interesting is Serral, I think, had a pretty quick link speed in the previous games. And he's actually, if he starts this right on 100, because he's not going for a 3rd, if he starts it immediately, oh, that's very safe. And he actually, yeah, I mean, he sees the 2 barracks right now as well. So definitely, that's fantastic. So that means his link speed's going to kick in just after 3 minutes 30. So these Reapers are only going to have about 40 seconds to work in the base before link speed kicks in, and they could get surrounded. So the first Reaper is in. So I said 40 seconds. Sorry, a minute and a half, I should say. 40 seconds from when the second Reaper arrives. Shh. I know my StarCraft. Nice cancel on that to keep the worker alive. The Queen is now out. He goes for a double inject, does Serral. Okay, so no transfuse or creep tumor here. Sometimes players like to connect the bases with creeps so the Queens can move back and forth. Serral, though, just injecting. And as I said, 22 drones and building Zerglings. Yeah, this just seems to be the way people do it. And he goes to take a 3rd, but an eBay block. I mean, this is really cool because he's delaying Serral. On the other hand, it's a massive commitment from Maru, who stopped at just 3 Reapers, and it feels like this is it. This is the whole strategy. Oh no, he's gonna lose the Queen. Oh, Serral, what is he doing? Why does Zerglings run away there? His Zerglings should have surrounded that and fought it. Oh my god, Zerglings he's trying to hide his Zergling count, that's why. Oh my god, Serral, he saw the 3rd was blocked and he was like, oh, okay, you're building Reapers, you're building engineering bays. He also, did he see the command center? I don't know if he did or not, but he knows there's going to be add-ons building, which means there's not that many Marines, and he's only showing a few Zerglings. He's going link speed and a Bainling nest. He's doing an all-in here. And look at this. He's only showing the front Zerglings. Is he going to show? He's trying to keep the other ones back, so he's going to chase him down, but he doesn't want to show a massive Zerglings. He's like, oh, here's a handful of Zerglings. Here's a little counter pressure. Oh, Maru might see those Zerglings coming in, but Serral keeps pulling them back at the last minute. Gets another grenade, that Reaper. Oh, he sees him. He sees him. Maru spotted it, abandoning the low ground, but what's he got? He's got nothing, mate. He's got 3 Marines and a depot wall. Ah! Okay, he's going to throw a bunker up here. I don't like that bunker. Cancel that bunker. Cancel that bunker right now. He needs to engineering bay wall this right now. He's going to try and wall off the command center, but the Bainlings are done in 4 seconds. He doesn't have enough time. He doesn't have enough time. He puts down the 3rd engineering bay. The command center is not going to get there in time. Oh, no. The Bainlings are going to get in. Okay, what's he got to do? Spread the Marines, fight with the drills, and take some acid to the face. Oh, he focuses down 2 Bainlings, 3 Bainlings. Chad micro from Maru somehow focuses down the Bainlings, but there's too many Zerglings in the bunker, unable to get up. The Marine's dying. And Serral with a decisive counterattack. And you know what, guys? He knew this build order. He might have even known this was coming. Because look at how quick he was to make this decision. He made this decision so early. Number one, he kept mining gas with 3 workers this whole early game. And I don't know if this was a snap call when he saw the 3rd get blocked or what. But he'd never pulled off gas even before that. Which gave him this option. And he's already massing more Zerglings. And never from... I was saying people will build like 10, 20 Zerglings to get the Reapers around to stall the attack and then go back to droning. I've seen people do that. I thought that's what he was doing. I didn't realize he was like, no, Bainling nest. And he took a 2nd gas. No, he didn't. Sorry, that's an extractor trick just to keep the drone alive. So yeah, wow. And he just says, look, dude, this build, what are you going to do? If you keep massing Reapers, you can defend, but he knows Maru's not going to do that. If he keeps massing Reapers, I think he can defend for sure, right? Because he can just have heaps of Reapers out, right? If he's non-stop building them, he can pick off the Zerglings, bounce back the Bainlings continually with the grenades as he guns them down from behind the wall off, and all sorts of stuff. But in this scenario, you're building 2 add-ons, you're building a command center, you're building a factory, and he kind of knows that there's this big gap where Maru does not have many units out. If you give him until about 6 minutes, then Maru will have stim. So not even 6 minutes, about 5 minutes, 5 minutes 30. He'll have stim, he'll have 2 medevacs, and then you're like, oh, 16 Marines with stim, 2 medevacs, that's a scary force. But he knows there's this window right here where it's like, there's almost no firepower. He's killed all the Reapers on the map. 3 Marines is just not enough, man. Even though he's building 3 Marines at a time, you can see he just can't get the wall off up. Like I said, cancels the bunker, but he didn't realize this was coming. If he even had 5-10 seconds more warning, he could have got the command center up there, another engineering bay, and he could have held this off. But Serral, just a completely sharp commitment to punish a build order, which has not been entirely uncommon in this tournament. Maru, Ryung, a few other players have been doing it, and Serral already had the kill counterattack move planned out. This is not the Serral of old that just sits back and defends and wins in the late game and looks for a way to survive. This is a Serral that also looks for a way to punch you in the dick and just kill you early. Well played by Serral to get a 2-0 lead. All right, guys, let's keep the hype going. We are going into map number 3, and that was a deadly counterattack. Guys, we just got word from Twitch chat. They said in an interview afterwards, he said it wasn't until the engineering bay block went down, and that's when he went, screw it, I'm going all in. So words from his mouth himself after that game. Very cool to hear. This is Serral. So just snap judgment call. Wasn't necessarily thinking of doing it, but the eBay block on top of the Reapers, and he was like, go F yourself. I'm going to go for broke and just see if I can kill you. And paid off, man. That sort of instinctive reaction is something which you absolutely hate yourself for doing when it doesn't work. You're like, why'd I do it? Damn, that was half-baked. But when it works, you go, heck yeah, I had killer instinct. It's a double-edged sword. But when it pays off, it pays off. So definitely had the killer instinct in that time, and it is, to a certain extent, the results that speak of it, you know. He had the correct read. That did work. Maru, of course, now down 0-2, and man, it's a rough way for things to go. He's opened up with some very creative and different openings, you know, that the Hellbat Marine attack in game 1 got shut down. Now his Reaper build got kind of just counterattacked and shut down, and it's something where you got to look at this and say, as Maru, do you just do your safest play, most standard play, and just try to play for mid to late game? It sucks to do that from the start of the game. You know, normally Maru tries to make big plays, tries to get damage done, and if it's not working out, then he falls back on the very defensive late game. Or if it's dead even and it gets past a certain point in the mid game, he just starts plonking down lots of command centers, goes for you know, the ghost transition, goes for the late game. But I'd love to see him slow things down a little bit, because Serral did struggle the last time they played against some of his late game. And everybody struggles versus late game. Not to mention, I mean, this match comes off the one match that Maru dropped in the group stage, remember? The one match that he dropped, he almost came back from being down 100 supply versus Raynor. I mean, that was an insane almost comeback. Was Raynor sloppy and incredibly wasteful? Yes. Did Maru play incredible, though, to almost make that comeback happen? Yes, as well. So it was, you know, it always takes 2 people to make a throw happen, a comeback happen in StarCraft. We always like, oh, he threw. The other guy didn't even win. The other guy, you know, he didn't win. The other guy screwed up. And I'm always like, look, I get it. The other guy did screw up. Oh, he's forgotten to put on gas. Maru, wake up, Maru. Hello? Wait, what? Huh? Okay, so this is a tech build, but also not? He's only rallying onto the gas. He's focusing on minerals. What a bizarre build order. This tells me he's going to go third command center before going for any serious tech investment, I believe. Man, maybe he did this earlier in the tournament and I've just forgotten. Hellion does deny the scout. Serral, no real info on what's going on up there. And he's going to go Overlord speed again, but this is a slower Overlord speed compared to game one. This is going to get in there at about 4 minutes and see what's happening. Still useful, but nowhere near as much of a commitment as in game one where he delayed his third base. So I prefer this version of Overlord speed. He's going to have a few more queens out, bit more creep spread, bit more of a robust economy in production. Very nice. Okay, Hellion's just poking around right now. Medevac is going to go out, so it's going to be the 7 Marine drop. It's very common that he likes to do this, but... Oh, he sees the Overlord come in. Oh, and he's trying to block it because he's just dropped a fusion core in the back of his base. So Maru's Marines not able to be offensive. They're now on defense duty, but Serral's like, can you really block me? I'm coming in from the right as well. And Maru, he's not going to go across the map. So this is kind of good for Serral because it actually pins the Overlord, the Marine drop at home. So he's kind of defending it just by threatening this. And the thing is, you can't keep defending it. The Overlord can come in from any side. Picks up, he drops again. Maru desperate to block the scout of this Battlecruiser build. But yeah, you can't do it. You can't block both Overlords at once. Maybe if he split the Marines and left 2 or 3 Marines up there, he could have bought time for the Viking. Bit of a bummer. Maru needed to keep those Marines split. I do think if he splits some Marines there, maybe. Of course, the Overlord could have just come in from this angle and seen what was going on. But as it is, Serral, he sees what's happening. He's building extra queens right now. His Bainling nest is almost ready. And there is a third command center going down in the wall off. So Viking is going to hunt down yet another Overlord. That's a very valuable Viking so far. And the Battlecruiser, the first one does start up. And it's a supply block! Oh, okay. Did he do a supply drop there? Oh no, it looks like a depot maybe just finished during that. Either way, does get the Battlecruiser started without too much delay. It's always going to be a little slower than the straight Hellion Battlecruiser build because you've invested in that Marine drop, and that Marine drop going to find some damage. Go after the drones maybe. I think the drones are the easiest target. Gets 1 drone. Medevac does need to get out. He saves all of the Marines. Not too bad. Hellion's still poking on that left side. The Queens, though, almost taken out of Hellion so far. Viking going to try and clear up a path here. Yet another Overlord in the open, but that's close enough to home with OV speed. The Queen should be able to move over and deflect that. He's going to inject, pull the Overlord back. Viking does fall back for now. He sees the fusion core was indeed committed to and finished, and factories are going to go down right underneath him. Serral probably will double back to confirm that in a moment, as he wasn't watching the Overlord as the factory went down on the edge of his vision. Zerglings do get us around. Scan does clean up some creep tumors, but not really making big inroads. Does just go get respreaded immediately. It go get respreaded immediately. Well, that's top 3 sentences of the year from my casting. I know we're only 3 months in, guys, but that may be the stupidest thing I've said in my commentary. Literally, I think that's going to be the prize trophy for 2022. We'll see. Battlecruiser does teleport in the main. A couple queens here. 3 queens and a spore crawler right now. Okay, what do we got? Pull this back. Pull it back. Pull it back. Transfuse. Okay, we got Battlecruiser there. Very nice. Very nice. 5 queens in the main. Oh, he's going to lose 1. Can he lose another one? Oh, Maru's doing some good damage, but oh, great pullbacks by Serral. Still getting some drones. Maru manages to get 2 drones, and I think it was 2 queens. No, just 1 queen. Oh, Serral with the sexy pullbacks there. Very well done. Hellions are roaming down the left side. Double armory goes down. Engineering bay to stop muters so we can build turrets as needed. Double tech lab factories. I think he'll go 2 tanks and then maybe cyclones after that if he wants to play a mobile style. We'll see what he does. Hellions on the left are going to get surrounded. Uh-oh. Okay. Serral, man, he's just not letting Maru in, is he? I mean, he's denying creep on the right side. He's still got a Battlecruiser in the back, does Maru, but very fragile. Just wants to wait for teleport. The Marines, one of them does finally go down, but still got, what, 5 Marines there? 6 Marines, so no big deal. The Ling Bane just going to force him out of here. Queens do get a bit of damage on the medevac, and the creep still respreading. Hellions on the left side coming on 4th. No damage on Maru's side of the map. Overlord does go through Overseer, in fact, and it does actually straight into Cyclones. No safety tanks. So Maru really feels like he can just keep Serral pinned back, maybe a few Cyclones and the Viking to help support the Battlecruisers defensively against what's going on. And notice Maru brings the Battlecruiser right into the mineral line. So the SCVs that are pulled to repair can go straight back to mining with minimal delay. I love it. Also, very nice turret placement where it's not actually really blocking those minerals very much at all. So really well done by him. Hellbats and Marines morph on the right side, kill a few tumors, but the queens, the mass of queens, 11 queens, and they're all here at the front, do push back. Here we go, Ling's going to push down that left side now. They're going to try and go for a run by. Battlecruiser's there. He could have committed, but the Hellions were close by, so they would have shut it down if he decided to do that. We've got Yamato on the way now. No third Battlecruiser. Will he choose to commit to it? Siege tank is on the way. A few Widow Mines as well. The Muta's going to dive into the main base, and he's not positioned right now. One Cyclone. Okay, 3 Cyclones and a turret should push these Mutas back. And the Mutas do break the lock-on. Changeling does go down there. Maru, he's established a nice defensive perimeter. 4th Command Center goes down for him. His 1-1 upgrades are almost done. Blue Flame as well. No third Battlecruiser is a little surprising, but, I mean, he's investing in Blue Flame over it. I'd normally just tunnel vision on the Battlecruiser count if I'm going Yamato, and he does start up the 3rd one now. Doesn't really have any anchor other than that 1 siege tank at the 3rd base. Depots to block up any advance as well as missile turrets. Hellions take out some creep by the looks of it before being pushed back by the Mutas. Now it is just roaches for Serral. So Serral's going to try and go into Ravager Bane, I would imagine. And that's not a bad style. He's going to go up to 90 workers as well. But he's also building a lot more Mutas because he wants to stick to Mutas being able to overwhelm the BCs. And the advantage of Mutas over Corruptors is they are a cheaper target to be losing to a Yamato cannon. He's actually going Swarm Hosts though. Oh my god. Okay, this is interesting. Mutas are going to fly back now. Transfuse. Nice transfuses and the spores. The BC is just going to focus down some drones. And he's got to teleport out of there. 6 workers. Gertie down. Oh my god, he was so close to losing that. I really thought he teleported home early enough, but those Mutas all came in and got another volley off, and 17 hit points on that Battlecruiser, very tough. A 5th Command Center is now building though. Maru does not have Magfield, and you might question, why do you not have Magfield? Remember guys, there's no roaches. He hasn't seen a single armored unit in this game. These Swarm Hosts are actually the first armored unit to hit the field. So Magfield didn't make any sense against the guy who's played Mutiling Bane. Cyclones are just a good general mobile unit to lock on and take things down, and we'll see exactly which way that goes. Swarm Host running forward as well. Just trying to see if they can find an angle. Swarm Host going to be able to throw 3 units forward. We've got tank on the left. Battlecruisers floating around. Hellions on the right side as well. Oh, couple Zerglings just getting past. Hellions. Okay, Swarm Host finally going in, but not microing that first wave. They just launched in on the front buildings. Not the best micro on the Locust from Serral. The BCs are diving. The Bainling's getting some decent hits on the Cyclones, clearing out a few of the Marines. The Hellions surviving that though, and not the best wave for Serral. I gotta say, that trade there was kind of awkward, man. I would have loved to see him manually fly the Locust forward and land them on the tank. Would have been a bit more effective, or hold position them after their initial launch. He does have 14 Swarm Hosts. He's going to build 2 more, so he's going to go for a full 16. Swarm Host Muta is so fragile, man. He does not have a lot of fighting units, right? It's literally 11 Queens, 80 drones, and 16 Swarm Hosts, not to mention the Mutalisks. None of these are good, straight-up fighting units. Serral is trying to play a very, very odd style because he just doesn't have any real army. He just has to keep making Bainlings with his last 20 supply of units. And it's not even that, it's last 10 supply. He's making 20 Bainlings. They're the only actual damaging fighting unit that he can throw in. The Queens are going to launch forward. The tank does go down. Better Locust land that time, but the Hellbats take him out very quickly. And even though the Queens are very tanky, not bad at dealing with the Battlecruisers, it's a big waste of supply for their damage output. Ling Bane getting down to the bottom right side. He's going to try and take out the Planetary, but with a tank there as well, is this enough? 24, 28 Banelings. It takes about 20 Banelings to kill a Planetary, maybe 18 Banelings if my memory serves, but the tank and the Planetary might kill about 5 or 6 of these before they get on it. He wants to detonate there so we can kill both command centers. Serral, oh, he shows his hand a little early. Tank takes out a few of them, Planetary takes out a few more. No, he's going for the SCVs, not for the command center, and he does end up taking out the Planetary. Turret does go down as well. Muta's going to take out the siege tank, no doubt. A few SCVs do fall there. And yes, the tank goes down. That's a very good wave. Locusts went in, but the Hellbats cleaned them up almost instantly. Those hold position Hellbats are just being very, very annoying because every time they guard the tanks, the Locusts land and they do get taken out. And we've got the Mutas flying around the left side of the map. 25 more SCVs do go down. That's a big wave of damage against a Terran at 10 minutes, at 8 minutes. 12 minutes? A Terran who already had 90 SCVs plus? I don't think this really matters. I don't think this really makes a difference. We've got a hatchery going down on the right side. Hatcheries spreading across. Good creep spread, good control. He's adding the Infestor Tech behind it, but You've got to keep trading, and another planetary already up before these Lings could get in here. That's frustrating for Serral to deal with, and 4 Battlecruisers mincing his Mutalisks. Mutas are not the greatest unit in this scenario. Baneling's rolling in and taking out the Hellbats. Where are the Locusts to follow up on it, though? Looks like they'd already gone in. 1 Locust on the left kills a few SCVs. Mutas dive in. They dodge the Battlecruisers and go for the dive on the economy. Is that going to pay off? I don't know. We've got a lot of Queens, but 4 Battlecruisers do not give a shit about Queens. Even without attack upgrades. Remember, there's no carapace on the Queens. And the Battlecruisers do have +2 armor. That 5 armor is incredible. The Queens are getting slaughtered. The Mutas do kill 14 SCVs, but now he's having to build 12 Corruptors, and this is a huge problem for Serral because his supply is going to end up very awkward. And look at that. Okay, he micros the Locusts so they don't waste themselves on the Cyclone. Just lands a few of them on that. Now he wants to land right here away from the Hellbats on the tanks. Beautiful land! And that's going to be a good wave of Locusts. He gets 1, 2 siege tanks. Only 2. Man, the Hellbat splash is sick. Thought he would get a 3rd and a 4th one there, to be honest. And he's been forced into Corruptors, is what I was saying, guys. So the supply is Serral's problem in this game. If he had another 20, 30 supply to build Roaches and Banelings, that would be so much better. But he's now in mass Corruptor Muta. The Corruptors can only really fight the BCs. They can't do much else. There's Thors and turrets everywhere. So the Muta Corruptor can't do much other than fight the BCs. And then you're suddenly saying, well, what else do I have? Some Zerglings and some Swarm Hosts. And I mean, that can maybe... If the Locusts can kill the Thors and the tanks, the Banelings can roll in. The problem is that Maru's got enough of economy up that he's starting to build a bank. So Maru is actually survived to a point where, yes, the Locusts are trading well, but they're not really wearing him down. And the Mutas and the Banelings are trading so poorly that Maru is still ahead in the units lost. And so Maru gets to play a game here of like, as long as I keep slowly securing expansions, I can win this game. And he's already going 3 more barracks, a Ghost Academy. He's thinking about a Ghost transition here. I don't think he's made 2nd Engineering Bay yet, so definitely that would help for him. He's making 3 more command centers because he knows he needs more mules to survive with scans, with mules in the late game. And I think Serral is missing a huge opportunity. He's had map control for a long time. He needs to mine out this base and this base to deny them from Maru for the future. Now, Maru's pushing into him, and I think this might be a big mistake for Maru. The Locusts should be able to take out this, especially if the Lingbane can get on the tank, and the Hellbats. Look at these Locusts landing on the tanks. The Hellbats all got cleared up by the Banelings. The Locusts clear up the army, and we get to see just pure perfection from Serral. Ravagers, Bainling tanks, Locusts taking out Thors and tanks alike, and the Banelings and the Zerglings took out the Hellbats, allowing the Locusts to do that work. Fantastic play by Serral. Even chases a Thor down. Well worth losing a Ravager there. A great win for Serral, but Maru's not done yet. Hellion run by on the left. Battlecruiser run by on the right. He's got 14 Corruptors, but he's lost all of his Mutas. 14 Corruptors might not be enough to deal with 5 Battlecruisers, and goodbye 5 Swarm Hosts. Ow! That hurts. The Mutas. The Mutas are now removed from this map, and here we go. Corruptor's going to chase down the Battlecruisers. Can he get one? That would be big, but no. Very tight play by Maru. He's not... He should just teleport them all home, to be honest. And indeed he does. Teleports all of his Battlecruisers home. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep repairing those up. Wait for Yamato. Wait for Tactical Jump to come off cooldown and use them again. This is the way you do it. That is a fantastic way to do it. Hellions jumping on top of the Swarm Host. Well, the Nidus, which probably wants to pop Swarm Hosts out. Mass Ravager! Okay, Serral doing a bit of a swappy swap. Get in there. Kill the workers. Get in there, mate. He's got to get in there and start blasting him with the Biles. And Corruptors are going to come forward looking to maybe hit these BCs. There's a Raven in there, funnily enough. The Biles don't really land. They just force the Battlecruisers to dodge. A very good pullback. I'd like to see him take out the gases, the turrets. Anything you can kill here is good value. And then maybe rotate to that right side. Ravager, Bane, Corruptor. Only 9 Swarm Hosts left in this game. Going to be used as much more of a tactical harassment squad rather than that big squad of 16 Swarm Hosts, which was enough to threaten planetaries. 9 or 10 Swarm Hosts, usually not enough to kill a planetary if the opponent repairs quickly. And Maru, well, he's pretty known for repairing quickly. He's kind of good at that stuff. Widow Mines do take out a few of these Locusts. Hey, they get a Ghost. That's not bad. And they will kill a turret. Nothing too huge. Massive Lingbane, Ravager, Corruptor on the bottom right side. There's a few Infestors coming out to back this up as well. Ghosts coming over, but they have to abandon ship. That planetary will go down, and he also could siege this from the low ground. I'd love to see him come in, pee on the gases with the Corruptors, bile down those turrets a little bit, and continue to pick away, because Serral needs to keep Maru small. He needs to keep him trading. The Ghost count is already building in this game, and he's already made +1 armor on these Ghosts. He could keep upgrading using that Engineering Bay. That would be very painful for Serral. If he can get enough Ghosts out there, we've heard the Koreans say this is an unbeatable style. If few battlecruisers just to keep taxing the Zerg, keep them invested in air units that aren't very useful against anything else. And then you just have a big Thor, Hellbat, Ghost tank army, and it's so hard for the Zerg to deal with. Battlecruiser's now going to go down the right side of this map. It's just an Overlord they see running past them. Where are the Corruptors? They're coming. They're a little far away, though. Is he going to Yamato the hatchery? Maybe. He does. 5 Yamatos will not kill it. I don't think he gets the kill. Oh, yes, he does. Easy kill. Oh, a Battlecruiser dies. That is big. Every Battlecruiser that goes down is big, of course. I'm not saying it's going to change the outcome of this game massively, but it's a start for Serral. Getting rid of those annoying units. He's got to run. Those Ghosts are such a scary unit. Infestor's hanging around. He wants to try and maybe steal some siege tanks or some battlecruisers with Neural. If he could Neural the battlecruisers, that would be huge. Locusts are still sieging Maru, and you can see the Swarm Host style so much more efficient than other Zerg styles. He's only down 3,000 resources in the units lost, but what has Serral lacked, guys? He's not mined this base out at all. He's not mined this base out at all. He hasn't mined this base. Serral has not secured any of the forward expansions, and I do think Maru is doing a good enough job of surviving, getting to that peak army, that he's going to be able to take the fight to Serral, and Serral does not have an insurmountable bank advantage. He hasn't mined out Maru's side of the map. It feels like he's desperate just to stop Maru expanding here. I feel like it's inevitable that Maru secures that expansion. This is a huge issue. Ravager Bane on the left side right now. He's going to come forward. Hellbats and tank are there trying to defend. Bile's going down on the missile turrets. We've got Swarm Hosts up there on the left side. Hatchery rebuilding on the right. He's got to take these gases as well. You've got to deny these resources, Serral. I do think this is one of being the big things against a guy like Maru who turtles his ass off. You've got to take the forward bases and mine them out. It's literally every mineral you mine, not only do you get to keep, but it's effective damage against a guy that's so hard to trade with. Every mineral you mine off him is a mineral he doesn't get to mine later. It's a massive, massive turn in his favor. Makes a huge, huge difference. And Nidus Worms are going to be getting taken down. Army comp 4 battlecruisers, 13 Ghosts, a Raven, 6 tanks, 12 Hellbats, and 2 Thors. Up against Ravager Bane. Oh, he's coming forward. The Infestors are trying to... Neuroparasite. He's getting Neuroparasite the Thors. Banelings go after the Ghosts, but it looks like the battlecruisers and the tanks do manage to stop that. Bile's landing very nicely, and the Thors are actually going to kill a BC. Nice! He gets a BC with the stolen Thors, but he will lose the Infestors on the way out. Fungal. That's a Spite Fungal. It hits a whole bunch of the tankiest units in the game that barely feel the scratch from that. Units lost tab now, 7,000 resources ahead. You can see Maru trades so much better in these fights because, guys, even though the Queens have gone down, there's still too many drones on the map, 77, and 9 Swarm Hosts. Each Swarm Host is 3 supply, 9 times 3. I'm good at math, 27 supply. Being spent on units that aren't helping in the frontal engagements. Maybe if those Locusts joined in with that fight, it would have made a difference. But without that, it's always an issue. It's going to go for the sensor tower, and they should kill the tank on the tail end. Just expire, barely. There are Hellions behind that. The Lings have to back off. I like the idea of doing Ling run buys on these non-planetary bases. Oh, this right side, look at that. Maru with a single tank, and he just feels confident enough to get this base up. Nidus Worms in the main continue to be blocked. And oh, goodbye, 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 Swarm Hosts. Oh no, the Swarm Hosts all get one shot and popped. And just like the satisfying pop of a big old pimple that's been festering and annoying you for weeks on end, you feel their bodies just fly across and stick to the mirror in front of you, and you've got to feel satisfied as Maru in that circumstance. Command Center does go down. The other Command Centers that are building die, as do the planetary. That's a lot of bases that Serral just killed right now. That's kind of awesome. He could actually kill this planetary as well, potentially, but the Ghosts and the Battlecruisers would make it a costly trade. And look at this, guys. Oh my god, he even lifted the Thor into the high ground to spot up there, taking his bases out. Serral needs to abandon ship. He's got to get these drones. He's already lost 11. Get out of there. Serral, you got to run your drones away, mate. He's already left them here. No, Serral, the tank was shelling on them. Now this one Hellbat. Anyone call for an exterminator? He's just going to get in there and start to fuck up. Oh, but Serral gets 1, 2 battlecruisers, make it 3. Every battlecruiser goes down. Maru with a huge misstep, losing his battlecruisers for no good reason. Serral does lose 20 workers unnecessarily. He now runs them away. He doesn't really have many places left to mine from with them, nor does he have a giant bank. He's building 13 Broodlords right now. Oh, that could be massive. There's only 2 Thors. That's all that shoots up right now. Obviously, the Ghost can snipe them down, but he's only got 2 Infestors. That's the problem. Oh, Serral, he sees the Ghosts. Oh, he'd love to catch those so badly. That would be a game-winning move if he can catch those Ghosts and then deny this bottom right. That would be massive. There's not that many minerals left for Maru to mine on these remaining bases. Serral goes in with some Lings. They're not going to do anything. He catches a single Thor there with some Lings and the Ravagers. If he could get this army on the retreat, that would be a pretty good engage. But of course, Ravager Bane is not the meatiest composition. You don't really have many great units, right? It's like the Banelings need to find the clumped up center of the Hellbats. A few Ravagers kind of outnumbered by the tanks and Thors. You really need to use all these fancy pieces very well together, and it's going to be a big old Broodlord push that's looking for the finish. If he can get a big fungal on the Ghosts, that will change the course of this game, and it will give Serral the most dominating 3-0 over Maru that we've probably ever seen, and it's at a live event as well. I guess, actually, wait, SOS is calling from 2018, and he wants his title back. He says, no one beat Maru more convincingly at land than me. 3-0 in the most one-sided display we've ever seen. Oh, he goes for the EMP. He neurals the ghost, EMPs the other ghosts. And that means a lot of those ghosts do not have cloak, do not have snipe. It's time to push. Serral with this sick pickup right here. He actually just totally diffuses the energy off a lot of those ghosts using his own power against him. Ling's running on the left side. He's going to get the tank and start killing the SCVs. Broodlord's pushing the right. Now, Maru's doing a bit of a basey tradey, which is a very cute way of doing it. If he can land an EMP on these infestors, he might be able to snipe down a lot of those Broodlords. He has so many of these ghosts. Serral's going to pull back his ground army to try and clean this up. That's a good call, but the spread is going to mean it's always kind of inefficient for you as Serral. Oh, man. He's worried about abandoning his main army. Tank Hellbat goes down the left side as well. He kills a base. I think he should continue. I think his Broodlords should continue here, but he's pulling them back right now. Oh no, even more drones going down. And look at this, Maru's just run around him. Serral keeps thinking he's going to try and fight the Broodlords, and he's just not. He's just gone around. It's the classic, guess what, you've made Broodlords. Haha, dickhead, I'm going to deny your bases. And look at this, Serral is knocked back to the Stone Age. His economy has just disappeared. He has 4 mineral patches mining over there, and a whole lot of nothing else. A single Hellion even comes in being a massive dickbag. The Broodlords have to push for the win right now, and this puts Serral in a very one-dimensional position. He has only one play. There is only one correct play. Go attack right now. Even if you rebuild hatcheries, he only has enough money to rebuild one. It will not be enough. That Thor barely saved by a 7-hit point medevac deep in the red. Fantastic play. A couple tanks, couple more command centers down here. Remember, he has still got mining there and mining here. It's not a lot, but he is maxed out. 4 tanks, 5 tanks, 2 Hellbats on that side. That command center will go down. It's only 4 infestors. Serral, I really need to see a spready from you right now. Come on, mate. Spread them. These infestors cannot get hit by a single EMP or this is game over. If you spread these infestors out, there we go. One up front. That's the way to do it. Spread the others as well, please. Broodlords. Oh, he gets a fungal. Does hit a second fungal, but the infestor does go down. He doesn't want to let these Thors get up. But the tank focus fire from Maru is lit. He gets 3 of the infestors, gets his units out of there while those tanks hold their ground, and they take out the most important supporting unit of the game. That was manual focus fire from Maru to spite the Broodlings in his face. Those tanks were absolute heroes. They took down the infestors as their last dying move, and that means the most important anti-ghost unit is gone, because remember, ghosts can snipe Broodlords and annihilate them. The only way you defend that is by landing a fungal on the ghosts. It interrupts the snipe, and then your Broodlords can kill them. But if you don't have the fungal, then you're screwed. And with only 1 infestor, he's kind of screwed. He has to pull back now, trying to rebuild 2 more infestors. He's got a base mining on the right side, but he's got so few workers. He's going to lose yet another hatchery, which means all these larvae are going to have to be manually selected if he wants to build anything. His greater spire has fallen. Lings, queens, ravagers, going to slowly clean these tanks up. Oh! Oh! He does it! The infestor pops. Clutch, burrow, clutch, scan, target fire. And Maru kills yet another one of these ever so valuable infestors. That is so bloody sick, dude. Oh my god, there's 1 extra infestor that just joined in with this full energy burrow boy. 17 ghosts, 2 fungals, 3 fungals is not enough. Especially if one of those gets killed before it gets its spells off. This is so bad for Serral. And he's trying to push forward, but oh my god, the snipes! Bang, 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 bang. The Ravagers just get taken at Bangtown. The Thors and Ghosts coming in with a giant arc. Serral, he does land 1 nice fungal, but already the Broodlords are getting sniped down. Where are the fungals? They're just not there. And Maru crushes that army with the late game Ghost Smack. GG, he's back in this series. All right, guys, let's go. Game number 4. And it looked like he was trading pretty well for most of that game, but we saw just how hard it was to stall out those pushes, coming across the map, and They just split off, took out all of his bases. I'm not sure what he could have gone to stop that. Maybe he just needed to jump on some of those pushes and those split armies a little bit quicker and stop them getting into the heart of his economy. But Serral there having a late game loss. And Maru, has he found the answer? Play mech every game. Battlecruiser mech, maybe. This map a little bit smaller, a bit harder to defend the Zerg assaults on your third base. If you are trying to play up to mech, might have to build a few more tanks early on and so on. But I think it wouldn't be a bad way to play at all against Serral. And I'd love to see more of it and see, you know, does Serral just keep playing Muters, Mutiling Bane into Swarm Hosts, and then add Ravagers as needed later on, add Corruptors as needed if the Battlecruiser count grows? Because I think that's really interesting. I do think one of the things Serral could have invested in a lot earlier would have been earlier Burrow Infestors and basically ambush the Battlecruisers. So when they're flying across the map, you spot them, you intercept them, Neuroparasite, and you just teleport them into your Corruptors and Spore Crawlers and kill them. And that's just like, bam. If you can get rid of the Battlecruisers really efficiently like that, you can then trade out your Corruptors, your Muters. You don't need them really. And you can just play, oh, cool. I've got Swarm Hosts with a Nidus Worm, I've got Bainlings, and now I also have supply free for Ravagers. Whereas if you've got so much supply in Muta Corruptor, it's awkward because the Battlecruiser shoots up, it shoots down. It's a much more general purpose unit. And it does feel like the Terran composition ends up being a bit more multi-use and generally functional, whereas the Zerg one's a bit awkward. So the Reaper's going to deny the third. Serral just going to send a drone out to his other third base, and you can see Maru's Reaper in the top right hanging out, and this drone's just going to go down to the left. Now, whenever your opponent does this, the best way to counter it is to immediately send your Lings across the map, and you can kill this SCV potentially, or the Reactor if you catch the Marine and that sort of stuff. I always think that's great, especially if the Reaper hangs out at the third like Maru's done this game. Some people would argue, oh, it's hard to defend your Creep Tumor then. If he's really good, he might come in and snipe it. But if you're not playing a best Terran in the world, Maru, I think that's one of the best things you can do. And, oh, he's going to try and save the drone. And he does do so. Will sacrifice the Ling. No, great pull by Serral. But yeah, the reason why at low level people don't block that much is because the Lings just run across the map, kill the SCV, kill the Marine. Even if the command center finishes, it's like the Lings get there as it finishes, kill the SCV or at least force it to run away and all that sort of stuff, and can be really effective. Reaper there. Whoa! There we go. Does go after the Spore Crawler. He's going to pull back. Third command center is there as well. So this is a pretty quick third command center, a good economic build. Interesting that it's 4 Zerglings. That to me doesn't speak of a scout. That's more of a, I'm going to run in and try and snipe a few SCVs, and if he goes in right now, it'd be perfect. And he's going to go in with just 1 Ling to scout to start. The other Ling's just waiting over there. Nice raise on the depots. We'll start attacking with just that 1 Ling, get a few hits off on the SCV. The Drilly Boys, though, turn to face the threat. No, he lets him in! He lets the Ling in! Oh, Maru! Dropping the ball, and Serral not going Overlord speed, but sees everything with the famous Serral Zergling. The Serral Zergling, man, it just sees every single thing, and he knows what he's up against. Third command center. It's going to be just Hellions, Viking, a Liberator behind that. We should see a second and third barracks come down up here very shortly. You'll see that factory lift off and build another reactor in a moment. And now he's going to build even more Hellions. Okay, so he's really going to commit to the Hellion Lib quite hard. Serral is on 43 drones versus 37. Not a massive advantage. He's built a lot of Zerglings, so he's very prepared if Maru tries to surprise him with a run by. And interestingly, he's opened up these mineral patches. I think that's a good idea. We've seen other players do really nasty tank pushes behind those minerals. So I like the way that Serral's just kind of opening it up and letting that creep shove right down the middle. Second and third barracks are on the way there. Double engineering bay behind the natural. And that third gas does go down relatively quickly. The Viking only found 1 kill so far on an Overlord. 2 Zerglings and a Creep Tumor went down as well. 2 more Zerglings going to try to run in. And they maybe get an SCV if they click on this guy. But no, they've actually just been queued to run on in there by the looks of it. And the Marines are going to clean that up. Nicely done. Here come the Hellions. Liberator on the top side of the map. Viking as well. Spore Crawler's being built, though. I think he spotted that with the Zerglings. So he's very well prepared. So if it goes along the top side, the Spore will probably get a few hits, and otherwise the Queen will be able to start working on it immediately. 4 barracks on the way, still building SCVs. Is Maru. That 3rd command center is landed, but he's got to get something done with this Liberator. And oh, he's not going to be happy about that Spore Crawler. 1, 2, 3 shots on the way past, and it's already repositioning. Maru here is in trouble. Bainling speed is on the way. He's got to get a bit more damage, but the Queens are blocking him at every turn. The creep is getting out in every direction. The Liberator not able to get a single kill. The Spore and the Queen are being repositioned perfectly. Now Maru has done a good job of handling this as best he could. The Liberator has not thrown its life away. Hellions do come forward. They try to get a Queen. The Viking hiding in the back, unable to get any more kills. The Queen's almost taking it out. The Hellions going to go for a run by it. The Lings are there. They're out of scan range. Does Maru dive for it? He knows it's too dangerous. He pulls back. Maru is playing Bio this game, of course, guys. And I don't know, man. I like it. Bio's good. But it's after the last game, compared to the first 2 games, there's a part of me that just says, just play mech, man. Just show us more ghost mech. And maybe Maru says, no. If he's expecting that, if I do that predictably, he will defeat me. Last game was still pretty close, even though I won it. I've got to play to the map, and this map really rewards aggressive bio tank play. So bio tank it is for Maru. As Hellions continuing to put a dent in the creep. But these Queens are an endless reserve of energy. And they just respread the tumors immediately. And they say, no worries, dude. We are happy. Marines are on the top side with Stim. 4th base does look a little exposed. 5th base going up as well. Dude, his economy is roaring. This is very necessary for Maru to do damage. Gets 1 drone. And picks up. Goes straight on into the main base. Oh, right on the high ground as well. Even accidentally, I think that was an accident unloading those Marines down there. And the Queens do push him away. Gets a bit of damage on the medevacs. This Viking still hanging out in the back. I keep seeing that blue dot. Forgetting that it's the Viking. 1-1 upgrades quite far behind for Serral, about a minute. Do we have an armory? Oh, Maru! His 1-1's finishing. He's going to 2nd factory. He's forgotten his armory. Maru! He's gone 4th command center, 2nd factory with no armory. Mate. His upgrade advantage was one of his biggest advantages in this game. And did his Hellions just die? No, they've gone home. Armory. Maru! Don't forget it. You're letting Serral catch up right now. Serral's going straight for Hydra upgrade, so it's going to be Hydraling Bane up against Bio. The armory finally starts, but he is now going to fall behind in the upgrades versus Zerg player that he should have been massively ahead against. As it is, Maru does have a pretty great work account. 72 SCVs versus the 82 drones of Serral. And I still feel like this is a game that will be decided by the engagements. 3 more barracks do go down. I don't really see a big supply lead for Serral. As much as he hasn't really taken much damage this game, he's only killed a Liberator. Couple Marines go down, nothing impactful just yet. I'd like that sensor tower, going to give early warning of any big assault from the Zerg. 14 more drones and an infestation pit. Serral's going late game, baby. He's going to build a big economy now. I think at this point he's realized Maru is not doing a mid-game push. He was kind of waiting for it, anticipating it. And he says, well, if it's not coming, let's go up into the 90s. 92 workers. Burrow on the way. Infestation pit as well. Now, he's forgotten to start his 2-2. Serral. His 2-2's a little delayed. 2-2 now starting up for Maru. We see +2 carapace starts for Serral. No melee straight away. There we go. And Maru's in turtle mode. Hellbat's tanks defending on the bottom. Tanks and planetary on the right as well. And for Maru, it's really... Oh, I like this. He's going to move a tank forward there. Oh, that's cute. And he can try to drop up there and use that to try and deny the creep spread on the other side. So very, very cute play to try and slow down Serral's advance. Oh, he's got to watch out! Maru! Oh, a little slow to react there. Does save those Marines on the right side. I like the tank there as well, starting to make its presence known. Viking still hanging out in the back of the base because why the heck not? 5th command center on the way. Maru needs to get the double tank production going. Where is that 2nd factory? It's there. It just doesn't have the gas right now. I think his gases on his 3rd were maybe a little slow. He's got the gases on the 4th mining as well right now. He's going so many upgrades, ghosts and all the rest. He's only got 6 siege tanks though, and I think mass tank defends this army. Hydraling Bane is not that good versus defensive mass tank setups. Nice pickups here, the tank continuing to fire. Here we go, mass ling attack! And the tank's unsupported. No Hellbats, no Marines. The SCV is quick abandoned, but look at that. Banelings go in between the command centers. They get the 6th command center and the planetary at the same time, or 5th command center and the planetary. And that's a big win. And look at that, he's gonna get a kill! Oh, okay, quick cancel there from Maru. Maru looking to counter-strike, but Serral's ready for it. The Lings go in. There's Banelings that will come in from behind that. Maru's got to pick up. He's still losing more bio units to these Zerglings that are being such a nuisance. And it looks like he will finally deflect this and be able to rebuild this base. Oh, even then, a burrowed Zergling hiding under the ground. He's sticking his middle finger up from underneath the ground. He's going, hey, dickhead, guess what? You can't build here, you shit. And another scan has to go down. Maru's got to be a little triggered by that. He's got a lot more command centers finishing. So he will have a lot more command centers, but losing that 4th base at that crucial moment, it allows Serral to take a massive income lead for a crucial moment where you're not quite max. You're not quite fully set up. And also, guess what, guys? Those factories are sitting idle. He's spending all of his gas on ghosts, cloak. These Viking, this is a bonus. Those are bonus things. Tanks are what he needs to survive right now. Just having layers of tanks and leaving some Hellbat, some Marauders there. Some Hellbat, some Marauders here is what he needs to do. I know he's very focused on trying to keep the creep back and keep Serral busy, but he's got to keep building some of those other units as well. And I do think tanks is a crucial part of that. Only at 5 siege tanks. He's going to move down here. This is a terrible decision for Maru. Maru made this exact same mistake on Pride of Altaris. You cannot afford to take a 5th base when you're already behind. He doesn't have a planetary on the top. It's exposed tanks that'll die to mass lings. Dude, no sensor towers up here either. Why would you spread this far to the bottom? Just turtle on 4 bases. You just need to survive right now. You have the best late game ghost play in the world. But look at that. Blinding Cloud goes down on the tanks on the right side. His army slow to get there to reinforce. He's going to lose these command centers again. Maru spreading himself too thin. Like butter on far, far too much bread. I mean, honestly, he's been wearing the ring for far too long at this point, and he's making those creepy faces Gollum style. He cannot hang on to this. My precious Terran economy is falling apart under the onslaught of the red tide. The Zerglings, the Bainlings, just charging in from every side, and even more SCVs going down in the natural. Dude, there was no reason for him to be taking this base right now, and he's going to continue to try and retake it. Okay, if he wants to expand to the bottom, he has to abandon this base and say defend here, and then defend in this area. But you cannot defend here and up here at the same time. You're spreading yourself too far. You're giving Serral angles of attack. And Serral, he's not hesitating, mate. Serral is finding those angles. He is attacking extremely distant fronts. He says, cool, I busted the top. Now let's bust the bottom. Hey, Maru. Maru, have you heard of our Lord and Savior? Oh, sorry, I'm not really religious, Serral. Oh, you will be. Here comes Bainlings, our Lord and Savior. Bainlings! Maru's like, that's really fucking obnoxious. Piss off. Serral says, I have 1,000 of them, so it doesn't fucking matter how obnoxious it is. There's just too many Lings and Banes. Maru is ridiculously outnumbered. The Bainlings are going to roll on in. He does a quick hot swap to get the SCVs out of the planetary. Maru doing the sickest little play there, but I mean, he saves 5 SCVs, he still loses the base. And look at this, that one. It's round 2 of the middle finger Zergling. He's sticking the middle finger up and saying, you can't land here, dickhead. This is so bad for Maru. He's got to give up on one side. You cannot spread yourself out like that unless you already have wall-offs and planetaries and ghosts spread out behind them. You cannot be doing both at the same time. And now Maru, I mean, this, like I said, same mistake from Pride of Altaris repeating itself. And unlike Raynor, who won last year's World Championship off getting hard counted, kind of the way Maru is, and then changing his playstyle drastically, Maru has not been adapting to what's working and what isn't working. And for him, bio, getting turtle up and then spreading out to bases that are too exposed has been a big problem for him. I really wish he went for mech in this game. But even if he didn't, I think this was an okay... Oh, you frigging Chad. Serral going for the Bainling Q because he says, Bainlings! And that is disgusting. No Terran likes to lose this way, but you know when this happens, it's because you lost a good 20, 30 seconds before that. And that there is a devastating victory. 3-1, crushing Game 1 and Game 2. Game 3 was a great fight back for Maru, but in the end of it, Maru just spreading himself out, and I'm telling you guys, I think he could have hung on there, man. I don't see Serral having a massive advantage, but I just don't know why you would go and take that base at that moment. It really is. It's presenting weakness. It's all about exposing yourself to too much weakness. I also criticize the fact that there's no wall off here. I really think he should be building more buildings there, but I guess he's already used all of his depots. Just would be really nice if he did. And then you try to get a planetary up here in front of this command center as well. You go double planetary eventually. But it's all about efficiency for the way Maru is playing. And the moment he takes this base, I mean, he's just kind of banking on this side not getting pushed. 3 tanks is not a real army, and this is very uncharacteristic of Maru. Normally, Maru keeps his units spread really well. And you can see he starts to spread back to the north, kind of realizing, oh, I've only got 3 tanks up there. And then he scans and he's like, oh, shit. And his creep literally on his doorstep. Blinding Clouds get placed for free. And, I mean, he just doesn't get over here fast enough. He doesn't have any more tanks on the high ground as well. Like if you have a tank here or up here, it's getting amazing shots off that whole fight. But he didn't have a second layer. And normally what Maru is so good at doing with hanging on is the second layer. It's the tanks behind the tanks. I do say his tank count was just way too low. He only had 5 siege tanks. And if he had 8, 9, 10 tanks, that's where Serral's going to have to change it up. Obviously, I think Maru was a little bit thinking ahead and worried about the Broodlords. You don't really want to have mass siege tank versus Broodlords, but you can trade those off. Right now, you're just trying to survive the mid game and get up to 4 bases and then 5 bases. Serral, though, a fantastic push, burrows the Zerg and keeps spreading creep, and we see the dominance on the map and the control that he has from that flawless early game. Just amazing play by Serral, and yet again, we see Serral when it comes to LAN. I think he's never lost to Maru on LAN. I don't think they've played many times. Might only be a one best of 1, 1 best of 5, but getting a 3-1 here. This is a fantastic win for Serral. GG, well played.